chat. Let's start the show.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Happy Hour Show with Lindsey Vertner. And I'm super excited to be here with you on another beautiful evening or morning or afternoon, depending on where you're tuning in from the world. If you are watching this live right spanking now, then comment all the way live. And if you're catching the replay later on, then comment replay all day, okay? We love you just the same, whether you're watching live or catching the replay. And also, you know how we do. Make sure you comment, love, share this video out because it's going to be bomb.com. And you never know who might need the good tips and gems that we're going to drop in your life. So comment, let us know you're here, let us know where you're tuning in from, and share this video out. And for those who don't know who I am, my name is Lindsey Vertner. I'm a peak potential strategist and transformational speaker. I teach ambitious, busy female entrepreneurs how to master their mindset and increase their self-care, self-worth, and self-discipline. That is my jam, and I'm super excited to bring on tonight's guest, a very, very good dear sister friend of mine. I love her dearly. Her name is Kristin Young. She is a wife, a mother, a student, a teacher, an actor, an MC, speaker, relationship coach, and a marriage enthusiast. As an entertainer, Kristin enjoys making people smile, laugh, and de-stress. When she's not acting, dancing, moonlighting on Saturday nights as a radio host on the audio Infusion of WEAA, or spending time with her own family, you can find Kristin managing events and supporting wives. She's the founder of Living The Vows, an organization designed to support newlyweds with bringing joy to marriages. So I want to welcome our very, very special guest on the Happy Hour Show tonight, Miss Kristin Young. Hey.
Hey, girl. Hey.
How are you?
I am fantastic. How are you?
Good. Yeah, it is so awesome to have you here on the Happy Hour Show.
Yay!
Super special guest. Yes.
First of all, before we go any further, I'm so freaking proud of you. Oh my gosh. Yes. All right, we'll have to go into our story a little bit throughout, but yes, I am super excited to be here. Yes.
Thank you. And you know the feeling's mutual, my love. See, listen, y'all, for y'all viewers and listener-ins, this is what it's all about: supporting one another, celebrating one another, encouraging one another. If your friends and your circle is not supporting and encouraging you, you need to get some new friends, okay?
Get them.
Miss Angela, Church Girl CEO, is in the house. Hey, Angela.
Hey,
thanks
Angela.
for tuning in.
I see that pink and green, Angela. Mm-hmm. Get ready for tomorrow. I see you, girl.
Yes. Another sister in the White House, right? So I know I just went through some of your various roles, and we're going to dive deeper into what some of those look like in your lives. But I want you to just peel back the layers, open up the curtains, and show us or tell us, who is Kristin really? Like, take us back. Give us the good tea. Where'd you come from, girl? Tell us about yourself.
Well, for those of you who have heard about this little tiny town called Baltimore, Maryland, that is where I was born and raised, okay? Listen, on the playground where I spent most of my days.
Hey.
Yes. So yes, I currently reside in Baltimore. I have lived here all my life. If you are not familiar with Baltimore, or Baltimore is if the only part of Baltimore you know is what the news tells you. Trust me, it's not just what the news tells you. Okay, I'm living, breathing proof. No bullet wounds. Okay, I'm good. All right. No, but I love my city. We, just like any city, we have some challenges. We all have some special members of the city that you just gotta say, Lord bless them. But yes, I live in Baltimore. Love it. I am married. I've been married for 12 years.
Pause. So you said that, like, your facial expression, it read like 12 years a slave. But I know you love. So I know that's not what you meant. I just had to say that. I just had to throw that out there.
No, not 12 years a slave. No. For the most part, they've been a pretty good 12 years. We've had our growing pains, but yeah. So this is well, technically, I guess now this is year 13 where we're working through. So we have 5 amazing children, 6 amazing grandchildren, and life is good. Life is good for us. Well, you said for me, growing up or back in the day, or so this is me. I haven't always been here. I grew up. I am a middle child. So shout out to everybody with middle child syndrome. I got it.
I'm a middle child, but I was a baby for the longest. So I get kind of like the best of both worlds. Plus, I'm the only girl. So I'm like the reigning queen.
Gotcha. Yeah. So my life is a little different because I am one of 3 girls. And life for me ain't been no crystal stair. Okay. But once again, I'm still here to tell it. So yeah, I grew up a middle child. I had both of my sisters are very, very vocal, very strongly opinionated type people. Okay. No matter who you are, no matter what your title, your status, no matter how much money you have, no matter the color of your skin, they're going to tell it like it is. And they're going to do it with the energy that they feel in that moment, period. Those, that's what I grew up with. So for me, I saw the consequences that came along with that. So I was always very quiet, very reserved, very observant. And I got the least beatings out of them all.
Shout out to everybody that ever got a whooping in their childhood.
Listen. I watched. I paid attention. Okay. Yes. But no, so it's interesting because actually moving into the world of theater, and I know we'll get into that later, but I've kind of transitioned into that in middle school, and that helped me to kind of evolve into being okay with who I am. Mm-hmm. That was a struggle for a very long time. I always acknowledge high school as my transitional years, and I know that's the case for many people. But I went to the Baltimore School for the Arts. If you're familiar with that, if you've heard that name, I was a theater major there for all 4 years, and I loved it. Actually, that's where I went. They have an after-school program for middle schoolers. That's where I started in the 6th grade. And then was accepted into the high school, and that was a major season of my life. Just being in a space that was completely like super mega eclectic. I grew up in Catholic school, tight uniforms, small class. There were nuns there, they
Catherine. I said Sister Mary Catherine.
And we didn't have a Sister Mary Catherine, okay?
Well, was it really a Catholic school? You didn't have a Sister Mary Catherine?
Oh, Lord have mercy.
So I noticed that you mentioned that, you weren't really okay with who you were. And so it took some time for you to get there, and you struggled with that. And I know that many listeners are either currently going through that from life experiences, or, they can relate to that. So what did that process look like for you as far as stepping into who you truly were and getting over that struggle?
Well, as I said, for me, it was going through high school, just being in a space that was so open to any and everybody. So that was, that was my first experience with it's with the public school setting, but just literally people from all walks of life. So you had all different types of religions. You have all different types of sexual preferences. You had different races. You had, it was just on top of the fact that you had all the different arts. So people were focused on, and they were serious about their art. Everybody had their talent. Everybody respected each other's talent. So it was like, you have the musicians over here, and you literally have the singers singing through the halls, and you see people. I mean, it was eclectic is the word that just keeps coming back to me, but I mean, it was just an open space. You had, like for my theater teachers, we called them by their first names. That it's like where they do that at? But they allowed us to call them by their first names, and we it was no disrespect at all, but it was just the space that they created, and being able to learn and grow and truly be comfortable with who I was, and really just, being accepted, because that's something that I did not, and I won't say never, because I had friends in elementary and middle school that I'm still friends with to this day. And so it wasn't a matter of not feeling accepted in general, but it was just a different type of feeling, especially moving it through those teenage years. That's kind of rough for most people either way. But as I said, at home, I was very reserved. I was cautious at home, and it wasn't abusive. It wasn't anything like that. It was just, I was so mindful of, you got to do the right thing. My dad was always, he was a loving dad, but it was a do what I told you to do the first time type dad. You don't get no second chances. He was. So it was just that kind of space. So it was, so don't, like I said, no abuse and nothing like that. But so it was like, when I got to high school, it was freedom. I was catching the bus to school on my own, and I was, I was just experiencing freedom. I was experiencing grown-upness, but then also just getting in tune with who I am. And so that was definitely a transitional point for me. And I fell off in college. I had to get back on after college, but that's the life journey. That's the life journey. There's no straight and narrows in life.
Yes. I love that. There's no straight and narrows in life.
Has the happy hour started? We started right.
Oh yes.
Great. All right.
I was like,
you don't want to be the first one to go to the buffet. It's like, y'all gonna get up yet? No. Okay.
Oh, here we go. Cheers, and everyone that's listening, grab your drinks, take a sip. Virtual cheers to all the listeners and all the viewers right now. If you're just tuning in, you are watching the Happy Hour Show with Lindsey Vertner and my very beautiful guest, Miss Kristin Michelle Young. She is an actress. She is owner and founder of Living The Vows. She is a teacher. She is amazing. She does all the things, and she is your next event host as well. So, in speaking of all the things, let's see. Mother, wife, student, teacher, actor, MC, speaker, relationship coach, marriage enthusiast, business owner. Woo, child, you have so many roles. How do you quote unquote balance it all? There's not really a full, not full, but a realistic thing called balance. But how do you find the harmony in all the different roles that you have?
Okay, so first of all, ma'am, let's not play this game because you got way more going on than I ever will. Okay, so let's just clarify that. Okay, so that's cute. That's cute. But honestly, for a lot of those things, it has been in ebb and flow, and that's how, again, that's just how life flows. So so I told you I grew up in acting. After high school, I kind of transitioned into more of the behind the scenes, because as I said, School for the Arts was a major blessing for me. I learned a lot, but it was also very hardcore at a young age. So I went in with more of a hobby mentality. They teach you with more of an adult career mentality. Mm-hmm. So it was a lot. It was a lot of pressure. It was a lot of work. So by the time I graduated, I was like, I don't want nothing to do with nothing that has to do with learning anything. So I didn't want to go to college, let alone an art college, to go through another 4 years of what I went through. So I did more behind the scenes television production when I got to college. And then after that, I just kind of transitioned out altogether. I was in just another transitional phase in life. Short couple years after that is when I got married. So I became focused on the family life. Mm-hmm. Going through family life, those first couple of years of marriage, for me, it was, I had all of these girlfriends around me who were newlyweds and recently married and all excited. And I was like, yes, I'm joining the club. And then once I joined the club, they were all turning in their membership. And I was like, wait a minute. Y'all told me this is the club, this is where I wanted to be. So how are y'all jumping ship and turning in your marriage cards? I'm like, what's going on here? So I was already in school for my master's degree in counseling psychology. Mm-hmm. So I shifted my focus to relationship and family and marriage and family counseling. And I was just like, okay, so what is this about? I was preparing for my own marriage, newlywed. And I said, all these people are jumping ship. So that's how I really got into creating Living the Vows, which was all about supporting wives in those newlywed years, 0 to 5 years. I was like, I'm in this. I see all these other ladies jumping out of this. I'm like, y'all make jumping out look good. I'm like, you have those moments where it's like, okay, so now I'm married. Now I start having these kids. And y'all get to turn in your kids on the weekends. I'm like, I don't get to do that.
Right.
I want a break too. And my husband doesn't seem to always get that. He doesn't always seem to get the fact that I need a break.
Yes.
So,
moms need a break. Moms need a break.
We need a break. So yeah. So that's what led me to create Living the Vows. Just watching some of my friends go through a struggle and wanting to stay married. So I'm like, okay, I've paid all this money to get this degree. Let me figure something out here. So that is how I started the Word to the Wives conference and various things along that path. And some coaching for wives who were just kind of in that season, just like that WTF season. We have it. We have it. It's real. It's real, but it can fade away. We can get stronger. So I will always have a passion and a love for marriages and supporting marriages. But one of the things that, as I was building that, my husband and I, we were going through some of our own challenges. We got to that 7-year itch that you may have heard about. Mm-hmm. Lord, that wasn't an itch, it was a rash. Listen. What is going on here?
Listen, we're gonna have to talk about this because I know there's a lot of married people or aspiring folks that are aspiring towards marriage, or even the single people that are loving their single life. They might just want the tea on what married life looks like. But either way, it's a lot of folks in relationships that are tuned into the show, and so we're gonna have to jump into some of these tips. But before we do that, let me just send a quick reminder that y'all are tuned into the Happy Hour Show with Lindsey Vertner, that's me, and my beautiful guest, Miss Kristin Michelle Young. And listen, I need for y'all to grab y'all drinks and let me know what you're sipping on in the comments. And if you don't have a drink right now, then put what you're going to make yourself after the show's over or what you wish you were sipping on. Because right now it is a great time to find out exactly
what's in your cup.
Yes, it's that time of the show where we find out what's in your cup. So our guests will share what you're drinking. All of the viewers at home, put in the comments wherever you're tuned in from, what you're sipping on, and then give us some cup cam. So Miss Young, what you got in your cup, girlfriend?
It's my cup cam.
Uh-huh.
And this was all the way full, y'all. I'm not even on front.
Hashtag no judgment zone on the happy hour show, okay? So
I don't believe in that little serving 4-ounce pour stuff. I'm like, no, fill it up. Fill it up. So no, I'm a lightweight. So I am drinking the Peach Sparkletini by Verdi. Yes.
Peach Sparkletini. Sounds
yes, I'm a peach lover. So yes. Actually have the bottle right here because I'm going to refill it. But yes, if you're not familiar, this is what it looks like. Yes.
Enjoy. Go ahead and top it off right now. Top it off.
Listen, I'm home. I am home. Okay.
Yes.
Listen, there will be no driving here. So I'm gonna do what I do.
Over here in the comments, Miss Madonna says, girl, I have sherbet ice cream in my wine glass tonight. So
I love it.
Hopefully you got sherbet ice cream in your wine glass with some wine and not just sherbet ice cream in your wine. Yeah, you'll have to let us know which one that is, a little party wine.
Yeah.
And over here, I have wild cherry sparkling water with a party inside. So I know, I sounded so healthy for the moment. I couldn't resist. So I just made something up. I didn't really want some more Sprite, but I was like, I want something carbonated and fizzy. So I went with sparkling water, the good kind. There's only been one brand of sparkling water that actually tastes good and doesn't have all the calories and sugars and is water, but it tastes like pop. But oh yeah, it doesn't taste like the gross sparkling waters. Like I feel like those are just bleh. So anywho, this is the good sparkling water. I would tell you the brand, but I don't even really know the brand. I just know what the boxes look like. And then I added in some strawberry Malibu rum and a splash of grenadine for a little.
Oh, okay, bartender.
Yes, balance. You see?
Yes.
And then my mug says, "Be happy."
Mm-hmm. Yes, don't worry. Be happy.
Yes. Now back to this discussion because it was about to get juicy on the marital tea, okay? And over here, Miss Madonna says, let's talk about this rash. Yes.
Listen. We had that poison ivy of the marriage, okay?
Poison ivy of the marriage. Listen. I get it. I think a lot of people are in love with the idea of love and the idea of marriage and the idea of this wedding and, having your big moment and things like that. And then they get into it and they realize that, wait a minute, record scratch. Being in a marriage takes work on both ends. Like you have to be working every day at your marriage. That doesn't mean that it's not awesome. That doesn't mean that's not amazing, but you have to wake up every day and make the intentional choice to love this person all over again, despite their faults, despite struggles and obstacles or sicknesses or anything that may come up. And unfortunately, a lot of people throw in the towel before giving it a chance, or they rushed in it too fast in the first place and you didn't really know who you were marrying. And so now you get married and you're like, wait, Jekyll and Hyde. Oh my gosh. So give us some insight, girl.
Exactly. So I mean, and honestly, you hit it on the head. And again, we hear it all the time. Marriage takes work, marriage takes work, marriage takes work. But when you have to do the work, we don't, and of course, every marriage is different. It's just like raising kids. But what I always tell people, you have to recognize that your marriage is grown. Your marriage, we get caught up in this grown person that we married, but the marriage itself is new. So you have to look at your marriage the same way you would look at your child. Your child got on your nerves. Your child, when your child was first born, it was like, oh, this is so cute, it's so amazing. So I mean, for those of you who are parents, remember having your first child and looking at that newborn and all the little baby clothes and all the little cute stuff, and you set up the nursery just so, and it's like, oh yes, this is so adorable, and all the clothes are washed and hanging up in the, oh yes, so cute. And then you bring that baby home to that nursery, and they're waking up in the middle of the night, night after night after night. They don't take breaks. They don't say, oh, it's the weekend, let me sleep for 12 hours. They say, no, I'm going to keep waking up. They say, I don't care if you ate. I don't care if you slept. I'm going to do me. You're going to cater to me. That's what babies do. They're going to have these big old blowouts. So that cute little outfit that you got, that you just put on them, they're going to have this big old nasty blowout. You got to clean it up. And now you can't get the stain out that outfit. So that cute little outfit is now trash. It's a rag now. It's done. You know, so we go through all these little things. We go through the growing stages of watching our children, and it gets frustrating. But how many of us truly say, I'm going to go ahead and give my child up for adoption because I just can't take this anymore? Mm-hmm. The percentage is so small of people who literally will give their children up for adoption after choosing to keep them. Mm-hmm. So, and so please hear me where I'm coming from with this. But so, you know, we are willing to take it on because why? They're children. They don't know any better. It's going to get better. We're you know, they're growing, but we're looking at children like, oh, they're infants, they're 1, they're 2, they're 3, they don't know any better. Mm-hmm. This is my child. I made this decision. We're going to work through this. We don't acknowledge our marriage the same way. We get into a space and all we see is this is another grown person. You should know. You should just get it. I shouldn't have to explain this to you. I shouldn't have to tell you more than once. I shouldn't have to. You should just, you know, and we get into this mentality. We get so frustrated because all we see is I'm dealing with another adult human being who should just get it. They don't. I don't care how long you dated before. You still are growing yourselves. You still have to constantly check in. You still have to give reminders. You still have to train each other. The same way you train your child to use the toilet, to eat by themselves. You know, you go through messes. How many people still have stains on the floor from teaching their child how to eat for themselves? You know, we don't throw in the towel. We may throw in the towel in the moment and just say, you know what, eat a popsicle and just leave me alone. You know, but then you go right back the next day and you get up and you feed your child some breakfast and you teach them how to read and you run them to baseball and basketball and all this, that, and the other, because this is what you do. This is what you chose to do. This is what your child needs. We have to take on that same mentality with our spouses. We have to be willing to say, sometimes you do have to repeat. It's annoying, yes. But so is it with your child. You get annoyed, but you do it anyway. Why? Because you know that they're going to get it if you give them the time, you give them the tools, you give them the patience, you give them the love. We have to be willing to approach our marriage the same way.
Yes, over here in the comments, Monica says, shared. Yes, girl. Thank you. Because you never know who needs this info. And Madonna says, I can see that same analogy for business as well. Absolutely. Absolutely. Everything takes time. And I like that you pointed out that, like, we look at it as, oh, here's this other adult that should know better, but we all have different upbringings and different backgrounds and different experiences. And oftentimes, you know, we didn't learn the best habits as we were coming up, you know, or maybe it was a traditional thing that maybe this family learned, or a toxic trait that this family learned. And so you can see how people repeat cycles from their caregivers to them in their adulthood. And so we have to remember, like, this person had a whole life of their own and they learned a whole bunch of things that now you essentially have two completely different worlds coming together to make one world. So you have to practice that patience. You have to have that understanding. You have to be both willing to listen to one another and to work together. So I love that you mentioned that. What would you say are some of the top marital myths that relationships go through?
Top marital myths that relationships go through.
Or like that new couples believe. They think it's going to be this way, and really that's just a myth.
I mean, well, that's it right there. We oftentimes will just come into this assumption, and just like I was just saying, we oftentimes just assume that it shouldn't be, marriage shouldn't change anything because we were dating, we were already getting to know each other. For some people, we were already living together, so marriage is just a piece of paper. No, ma'am. You sign that piece of paper, the whole universe does this whole mystical, magical swish, 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 swish. When you sign that piece of paper, that officiant signs that piece of paper that says, "We saw you say these words. You said until death. Pow. Let's have it." And then you do all of this. It's crazy. It's so crazy. There are so many people who have been married have been together and living together for like 15 years. And they're like, okay, well, we might as well. Let's just go ahead and get married. They get married and within 2 years, they're divorced. Because life changes. It's the mentality. It's a whole full body experience. So you have to understand mind, body, soul. There is a whole shift that happens when you when you put it into the atmosphere. You have to understand this. We always hear that life and death is in the power of the tongue. We have to realize how powerful our words really are. So it's something totally different when you stand before God, or stand before your officiant, or stand before your family and friends, or whoever you have there, whether it's 3 people, whether it's 300 people. When you speak it into the atmosphere, I choose you, come hell or high water, sickness and in health, whatever vows you want to make up to try to replace it. The bottom line is you're saying something that says, I love you, I care for you, I'm going to be here for you, I'm going to be your ride or die, I'm going to be your partner for life. That's what we say. Whatever your religion, whatever your belief, we, in some form or fashion, we stand before somebody and say, I choose, with the power invested in me, I choose to have you, one person you, for life. And I don't know how long life is going to be, but I'm choosing. That's what we say. So we put it out there in the atmosphere. So as soon as you put it out there in the atmosphere, then the atmosphere says, okay, let's test you, because you said that's what you're going to do. Let's test you now. We're not going to wait 40 years down the line. We're going to test you right now as soon as you leave this little celebration. That's what the world does. That's what the universe does. So that's one of the biggest myths. Just believing that it's just a piece of paper doesn't really change anything. We already loved each other. It's all good. We'll be fine. Of course, then you have the other myth that children will heal a marriage.
I've heard that many a times. Like, I'm like,
no, wait, Lindsey, your little people about the same age as my little people, okay?
Yes.
People really think children are going to heal a marriage.
No, that's exactly the hilarious joke. Over here, Monica says the tests are real. Absolutely. And children are another one of those tests of how much you love each other and are willing to stick it out. Whenever, like, I can think of a few people right now, married and not yet married, but having children, thinking that it will save the relationship. And one of them was already broke up. Like, oh my goodness, you going down all the wrong paths. Hashtag no judgment zone, though. Hashtag no judgment.
Listen. I mean, but we want, because we have See, this is the challenge. This is one of the things that I've and see this one. I wasn't even coming here to talk about this today, but it's in me. It's in me.
On the happy hour show.
I was here to talk about acting and being an MC. Okay, so this is one of the things that I've always taught wives that I work with. For little girls, we're raised on what? We're raised on kitchen sets. We're raised on doll babies. We're raised on Disney princesses, right? Mm-hmm. Our little boys are raised on what?
Trucks and cars and football and
G.I. Joe, PJ Masks, superheroes, and game systems. That's where they either shooting people up or they're I don't even know what they do, and I don't even know because I wasn't blessed to have the boy that I prayed and asked God for. I said I just asked for one thing was to raise a little boy, and I didn't get that. Okay, no brothers, no sons to raise, but it's all good. It's all good. Praise the Lord. So we have to understand. You see the two very different ways that we, for the most part, the average family raises their children. Mm-hmm. Girl, kitchen sets, dolls, family, home. We're introducing the home. We're introducing family. We're introducing all of that from zero. From the time they can walk. Here's a little baby doll. Then they can start pushing the stroller. Then they want to be like mommy because then mommy has another little baby. So they say, okay, here's your baby doll. You can do what mommy does. So girls are raised to be like mommy, to be homemakers, to be family oriented from Jump Street. Boys are raised to be off in another world, doing their own thing. They're not family focused. We don't raise our boys to be family focused. So then by the time, this is one of the reasons why we always hear that girls mature faster than men. One, we just do. But also we have to look at how we're raising girls versus boys. More often than not, we're not introducing relationships, protecting, being a provider for a family. We're not having that conversation until maybe high school. Mm-hmm. Boys, I mean, let's be honest. Somebody who's raised a boy or who grew up with brothers or something, tell me different. Because as I said, I didn't get that opportunity. So, but for the most part, right. But for the most part, it's not until maybe high school, college that, so we're looking at, 15, 16 plus that they even start to think about that, where our girls were raised on that from zero, from birth. They come out the womb getting a baby doll. So we raise our boys and our girls very, very different. We're also raised, as I said, for girls, that Disney princess happily ever after. Mm. They never discuss the after. Disney sets us up. They show you all these trials that I went through. Seriously, think about Sleeping Beauty, Snow White. Who do we grow up on? Think about the Little Mermaid. Think about all the Disney princesses. They went through this drama. They were mistreated. They were trying to find their way. This Prince Charming came, saved the world. They got married and lived happily ever after. What does that mean? What is that I mean, the first time I've seen any kind of variation of that, I think was with Shrek, when they came, when he and the prince, and see, I'm not even a big Shrek person, but I know they did like a second movie of Shrek where they came back and they actually showed their life together or something. But it's like, you never see the happily ever after. Mm-hmm. You can live happily ever after, but there are bumps and bruises to get to that extra happy. Okay, you start off happy on the wedding day because that's what Disney showed us. They showed that beautiful picture and, and then the book ends. They leave everything else up to the imagination. So what you want to imagine is that happily ever after is what marriage is. You get to that, you arrive once you're married. That's mm-hmm. the mentality that is put out there in all of these fairy tales. So once we actually get to that date, because even now, most of us, when you get to that wedding, you get to that moment. Oh, he finally proposed. Oh, hey, look at me. Hey. Oh, I get to go to this wedding. Right. So we're looking for this beautiful gown. We're looking for this long train. We're looking for our princess moment because we finally arrived. We finally got to that happily ever after. So we have the beautiful wedding, however you want it, the music, the dancing, you get the gifts, you run away in your limo or your Ford pickup truck, whatever you can afford on that day. And then what? You go on this beautiful honeymoon. And it's crazy because I know for me, when I got on my honeymoon, I was like, what in the ham sandwich did I just do? Seriously, that was my first aha moment. It was just like, okay, I got to the honeymoon, and we did do our honeymoon right after. I know everybody doesn't. We did ours right after. And for me, this is me, okay? So when I go on vacation, we went to Mexico. I was like, yes, I want to go. I want to sightsee. We're going to snorkel. We're going to go here. We're going to go there. We're going to be. My husband was like, we got this beautiful hotel. It was like one of them nice little suites or whatever, and the all-inclusive. We got the all-inclusive everything. Yeah, they hooked us up. He was like, I'm just trying to chill. I just want to be with you and be in this room. And I'm like, well, why did we come all the way to Mexico to sit in a room? We could have hit the Holiday Inn at home. So I was like, I literally had a moment on our honeymoon. So this was day one. This was like maybe day 3 of marriage, 3, maybe day 4. This was like day 3 of our marriage, and I'm just like, why am I having to make this sacrifice already? Like, this is my honeymoon. I'm on vacation. I'm trying to go see do, and he's like, no, I just want to see. So we literally, I mean, it wasn't like but I really had this internal moment, like, we are on
WTF.
And this was before WTF was a phrase. I mean, it was still a phrase, but it was just like, I really just kind of had that moment of, we're not on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't even discuss what we wanted to do on our honeymoon. I just assumed we're on vacation. So on vacation to me means go see do. His definition of vacation is rest, chill, be. So that was one of those things that I had to learn on our honeymoon, and we had to figure out a compromise. But that was our beginning on that honeymoon. Just like, what, we didn't discuss this, and this is one of the challenges that so many marriages face. You assume that certain things you should just know, or you assume you're just kind of on the same page with something, and you're not.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, the same way you have to talk to your children. Did you brush your teeth? Did you use toothpaste when you brushed your teeth? Did you put on deodorant? Did you take the cap off to put the deodorant on? Did you actually take a shower today? You have to talk to your kids in that way. You have to make it clear, and we have to talk to our spouses the same way, not to disrespect them or downplay them or what have you. But you have to get to a space where you consistently over communicate. You can never assume. It's no different than I thought you were going to pick up the kids from daycare, or but no. I told you I was working late today, or I work late every Wednesday or whatever, but so you have to over communicate. Stuff is going to get missed. You married, for most of y'all, you married a human being.
Not most of y'all.
Most of y'all. I don't know who's watching. I don't know. Listen, like he said, no judgment zone.
They done married their pet goat. Oh Lord.
No judgment zone. So, but for the majority, my assumption is that if you are married, or if you have been married, you married a human being, you have to get, and an adult at that. So you have to get out of the mindset that you just know, you should just know. That is one of the most, you're going to wear yourself. It's more frustrating to assume than to just reiterate this.
Yes.
You just lay it out again. Hey, it's Wednesday. It's Thursday. What are your plans for the weekend? What do you have going on tomorrow? What are we going to do together? If you have to map out your week, if you have to map out your month, or another thing, a lot of times people just assume that romance is just always on the mind. No, we are working human beings. We're all doing, I mean, literally, all of us, we're all doing 29 things. And especially if you have kids, a pandemic or not, you got stuff going on. Most of us became teachers overnight. Overnight, okay? Do you hear me? When I say we became school teachers overnight, that wasn't in the plan for most of us. But guess what? Life happened. And those children needed to still learn something, or they needed to be home, or whatever the case was. So you had to make that shift. The bottom line is we all have to understand that life happens, but you just got to communicate. You have to communicate. For some of us, it was okay. There's no more school, so who's going to stay home with the kids? Because some of y'all may be doctors and have to still go into the workplace. Many of us were home. But regardless, even if you're both home, what happens? Oh, well, dad's going to go lock himself in the office and work, and mom's got to stay out here and teach the kids and work and clean the house. But wait a minute, we need to have a conversation.
Yes.
Life just changed. Hello, life just changed. We need a new routine. We need a new plan. Let's talk about it. Let's not just assume, oh, she's got it. She's good. She's always got the kids. She always figures it out. And the other thing, let me tell you right here, because we as women, just because we are superwoman, we don't always have to wear that cape. So we have to remind our husbands.
Pause. Before you get on that point, that's a whole nother issue. Over here in the comments, Monica says, can't assume nothing. Exactly. Angel says, yep, can't be assuming up in here, be all messed up. And she says, you better tell it, sis. Marriage is work. Like Rihanna said, absolutely. If you're just tuning in, definitely make sure you go back and watch the replay. You're watching the Happy Hour Show with myself, Lindsey Vertner, and my lovely guest, Miss Kristin Michelle Young. She is a relationship coach, actress, your next event MC, and so much more. And we have been having a juicy discussion on relationships and more specifically marriages. And there's something that you mentioned a few times about life changing. And I really want to point that out because so I used to be a sexual health educator and I used to have to tell women, you'd be surprised how many adult women don't know about their bodies. Lord Jesus, that's a whole nother issue. But I would have to tell them that, your body and your sexual preferences and how you are wanting to be pleased by your partner and things like that. And just your health in general changes through different stages. When you're on medication, your body changes. After you have children, your body changes. If you have surgery, your body changes. If you lose a lot of weight or gain a lot of weight, your body changes inside and out. And so marriage is the same way. You mentioned multiple times that life happens. We go through things. And so your marriage is going to shift after you have children. Your marriage is going to shift after you move. Your marriage is going to shift if one of you starts a new job or starts a business. And all the life experiences that we go through, you can expect a shift in your business or not your business, look, in your marriage. And so you have to be willing to work through each of those shifts because that's going to bring about a whole new level of obstacles. So I'm so glad that you pointed that out. Now, you started to bring up another point about us women and being a superwoman. I always say you're not a superwoman. You're a super woman, but you're not superwoman. So go ahead. Say what you was going to say.
Yes, you are super and we are women. However, ain't nobody flying around with no capes around this joint. Okay? But the thing is, we all oftentimes what happens is we just make it happen. That is our superpower. We make things happen. We can have, whether you have one child, 5 children, whatever the case is, whether you work outside the home, whether you're entrepreneur, whatever it is, you make it happen. Those 5 kids, they're all eating. They're all clean. They all get to school on time. At least 4 of them have a lunch to take. You make sure stuff happens. You get them where they need to be. You get yourself where you need to be. You get back to them to get them to the next place. You scatter them in 4 different directions. One got volleyball, one got basketball. We make it happen. And then we still manage to wash dishes, cook a meal, vacuum a floor sometimes. Mm-hmm. We make things happen. So when we're constantly in make it happen mode, we forget we signed up for a partnership.
Yes.
We signed up for a partnership. And just like the people on your job that you get so frustrated with because they're not pulling their weight to do part of this project and you're doing it all and I'll just do it by myself because they don't do it anyway. Guess what? Their paycheck ain't changing. They're getting paid whether you do all the work or whether you split it. Your husband is getting the same benefits. He's still married. He still got you. He gets to still see you. He's still chilling. That's why he's like already like, yeah, let's go have fun. Let's go have sex. Let's go do this. Why? Because he came from home from work. He had a good meal. He rested, took a shower. He's watching Netflix. He's good. But you're running around because you want to be Superwoman. Or because he doesn't wash the dishes the way you want them washed. So you're just going to go ahead and wash them instead of showing them how. Or better yet, as long as they're clean. We have to get out of this mentality of it has to be a certain way. One of the beauties of a marriage is 2 people from 2 very different backgrounds coming together to create something new. Mm-hmm. You're creating something new. You're not just, this is what my mama did and this is what my mama did, so we're just bringing our 2 mamas together. No, they're already married or they're living their own life. That's not what this marriage is for us to take what worked from home, from your personal life and what worked from your personal life, and let's bring it together and let's see how we can work it together to make something amazing and beautiful. But again, you got to communicate because bottom line is men are men and they're human. So they're going to sit back and watch you run around the house, run around the world because you got it. And because too many times when he tried to step in, you said, no, I got it. I'm good. I've figured this out. I don't want to have to teach you how to do it. I'd rather just do it myself. So he said, you know what? Cool. There's some game on that I can go watch. You don't need my help. No problem. Just call me when dinner's ready.
Saying that, I can think back to an example some years ago where my husband was folding the towels and he wasn't folding them the way that I liked. And of course they weren't all neat. They were folded, but it looked kind of janky. And I'm like, and I found myself going back and refolding the towels. And so the next time that happened, like I legit had to pause myself and say, Lindsey, it don't matter. Like the towels are folded, do something else and be grateful that you even have a husband that was willing to fold the towels without you even asking, because some people can't even get that. But, being in a relationship is all about communicating. You have to express your needs. They have to express their needs. And if you have issues communicating, you need to go seek some help, some counseling, some therapy, get those communication skills up, because being in a marriage is an ongoing communication thing that you need to work on over and over and grow and grow and grow. Over here in the comments, Miss Angel says, I know that's right. I don't want to be all things to everyone. Ain't nobody got time for that. No. She says, no bringing mamas together. No. I like that you said to make something new. Monica says, communication is essential and necessary. Absolutely. Angel says, I'm going to get a T. Hashtag help a sister out. Yes. Exactly. So,
and the thing is, regardless of your beliefs, because I know there are some people who still have old school beliefs that women take care of inside the house, men take care of outside the house. Regardless of your beliefs, regardless of the semantics or the technicalities, you have to communicate. You have to make sure you and your spouse are on the same page. Not you and his mama, not you and his sister, not you and his homeboys, not you and his kids from his previous marriage. You and your spouse have to be on the same page. And if you find that you're not on the same page, don't get frustrated. Don't get annoyed. Don't talk down to him because he has an ego. He is your spouse. You signed up for him to be your partner, your covering, your protector, provider, your equal, however you want to look at it. You didn't sign up for him to treat him like a child. So don't. You have to acknowledge, wait a minute, we have a disconnect.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, if you're getting annoyed at every single thing that he does or doesn't do the way that you want to do, that's internal check. Internal check, because nobody should be annoying you that bad. Live in the same house or not. If somebody, if just some little thing like not folding the towels the way you like, and it has to turn into an argument, that's internal. Go get some therapy. Because
Check
you got some inner workings.
Self-care as well.
Inner workings that need to be done. But when you find those things like, wait a minute, those assumptions are rising again. Just take a pause. Wait a minute, we need to have a conversation. I encourage all couples to have a weekly check-in, at minimum, daily if you're amazing, but at minimum a weekly check-in where you can say, okay, how did we do this week? The same way you have an annual review on the job. You need to have a weekly review in your marriage. Hey,
absolutely.
Is there anything that I said that hurt your feelings, that pissed you off, that you said you want to come back to and you just didn't get a chance to come back to? You want to go ahead and let's go ahead and clear that up now, because I don't want it to come out in another 7 months.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go ahead and take this time now to say, what was that thing, so that we can figure it out. So You need to have those regular check-ins with your spouse just to say, how do we stay on the same page? Because guess what? You're reading a book. You're creating a book. The page is going to turn. You can't be on chapter 7 and he's still trying to edit chapter 5. Y'all got to flow together. The pages will continue to turn. That's a given. You just got to make sure that you're in the same rhythm and you're writing together. That's all. But that's the piece that we miss, because we fall into assumption mode all the time. And that's what's frustrating. And that's when you see marriages fail, because you feel like, I don't want to have to tell him again, so I'm just not going to say anything. But the fire is raging inside of me and I'm pissed off. So I'm going to just go find somebody else, because guess what? The people on the outside are not attached to the issues inside. See, it's totally different when you're dating, because my husband and I talk about it a lot. When we were dating, I could go visit him. He had his apartment. I had my home. We were good. So going to his apartment was like going on vacation. I didn't have to worry about clothes. I couldn't fold clothes that weren't there. I didn't have to worry about dishes that weren't there. I didn't have to worry about bills that weren't there. But once you get married, you are attached to everything. So you think about, man, when I was dating, you could take me out and it wasn't coming out of my budget. Now it's coming out of my budget if you take me out. So now it's, so we think about it. It's like, yeah, you want to take me out, but wait a minute. That's coming out of plans that we got to, we're trying to budget for something else. So it doesn't make sense to spend all that money, because it used to be your money. Now it's our money. I have to watch your money and my money. So it's not the same. It doesn't feel the same, okay?
Listen, you have dropped so many gems, and I can't believe we are already at the hour. So to wrap it up, we have a viewer question, and so I want to let you answer this, and then we will go into any final feedback. Miss Angel says, question, I don't want to assume, so I ask questions. How do I make hubby take my questions serious when it holds no weight for him?
Take my questions serious when it holds no weight for him. Okay, so this is if I'm understanding this question, basically we feel a certain kind of way about something, or we want to you said take my questions serious. Not sure what you mean as far as questions, but in general, if you're saying I have thoughts, I have opinions, I have feelings about a certain thing, and he just kind of blows it off, or
that's how I read it.
Yeah, so it's like it's stuff that's not important to him, but it's important to you. That's what I'm getting. So if that's the case, it's just like I said, having that weekly check-in. You need to create a space. You need to create the atmosphere where you can have a heart-to-heart conversation with your spouse. And regardless of how you may feel, or regardless of how petty you think it may be, you are creating the boundaries, you're creating the atmosphere, you're creating the understanding that this is our time to share what's on our heart. No judgment, no arguments, but legit conversations to do what? To get on the same page. You don't have to agree just because you're married, but you have to find an agreement so that you can move forward. So if it's something where it's like you feel like, oh man, every time I bring up something and he always just blowing it off, talking about I'm being petty, or I'm just in my feelings, or if it's that kind of thing, you need to create that space, because if it's important to you, he needs to see the value in that, because you are important to him. So he may not, everything that you find important, he may not, but you are important to him. So you have to create that space to say, you know what? Can we have this time where we just sit down? I really just want to share some things with you. I really want I want you to share some things with me, but I want to make sure that we're creating a space where it's done in love, no judgment, no arguments. This is just for us to connect on a deeper level. Mm-hmm. A lot of guys are not crazy about, oh, that's too mushy, or but you got to work through that. You got to work through that. A lot of guys are not talkers. They're not, real feely and emotional people, but you have to work through that. Why? Again, because you are important to him. And if your marriage is still important, they'll be willing to do it.
Nice. And so our final question, this is a question that I have to ask all my guests, because I'm all about creating a first-class life, one that's full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness, one where you are intentional about the quality of life you are creating for yourself, where you're shedding away all the masks of fear, of doubt, of living up to the expectations of other people and who they think you should be. And instead, you're walking boldly and unapologetically in who you are, flaws and all. And so I have to ask all of my amazing guests, how do you intentionally create happiness in your life?
I go to sleep. Listen here. I'm serious. I am serious. If there is one thing that has blessed my entire soul through this pandemic, but even before, but definitely through this pandemic, since the girls have been home and everything, I take naps daily. One of the things that I learned a short time ago, I cannot continue to run myself ragged. I do a lot. I love to do a lot. I love to serve. I love to give. I love to travel. Like you said, I'd like to have my hands in a whole bunch of different things. I like to stay on the go. But when my body says good night, it's just that. I
said I've seen it firsthand.
Yes, you have. And that's it. And because most of us, we went through high school, college, you staying up all night long trying to finish papers. I used to work when I was in college. I worked overnight. I worked full-time overnight, went to school full-time during the day. I ran my body ragged for a very long time. And then shortly after that, that's when I got married and had kids. So my body was running, tired, running on E. That's how I raised myself. I had to get off of that, go to sleep, because more often than not, we're frustrated, we're irritated. Sometimes you're just tired. Take a nap, go to sleep, rejuvenate your body, focus on being healthy. And part of being healthy is getting decent sleep. And when your body says it's time to close your eyes, whether it's a cat nap or whether that means going to bed at 8:00 on a Friday night, which I get excited about now. I'm like, ooh, it's Friday. I can go to bed and I don't have to get up. That's exciting to me. But whatever it is for you, getting rest, that's my happy space. When I can wake up refreshed. I can look at life differently. I can look at my husband differently. you know, and even when, but because my husband, he still has to go to work every day. So even though I'm home with the girls, he goes out to work. But if I can get a nap in by the time he comes home, hello, my love. Yes, it's totally different as opposed to I've been running all day. I've been up since 5 a.m. Took the kids, did this, and I'm tired.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that final tip. If you are just tuning in, you missed it, but it's okay because you can always go back and watch or listen to the replay of the Happy Hour show with Lindsey Vertner and my special guest, Miss Kristin Michelle Young. Make sure you follow her on Facebook and Instagram at Kristin Michelle Young, and that's Kristin with an I, Kristin. So, Kristin Michelle Young on Facebook and Instagram. She is a relationship coach, actress, MC, speaker. She is the founder of Living The Vows. She does everything and she's phenomenal. So make sure you follow her and make sure that you sign up for happy hour updates. Go to bit.ly/happy updates. You see it scrolling across the screen right there, bit.ly/happy updates, so that you can stay tuned on future episodes of the Happy Hour show. And sometimes my guests like to give a happy hour special, but only if you're VIP on the email list. So make sure you sign up and make sure you tune in with me every Tuesday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern. And we will actually be back this Thursday, January 21st, for a special Thursday airing as well, 9 p.m. Eastern. So sign up for those updates. And I know that there's one last thing that you wanted to share. So we're going to have a special contest. Our lovely guest, Miss Kristin Michelle Young, she has her new book, Money Talks, that she wrote her chapter with her husband. So we've been talking about relationships. And if you want to win an autographed copy of Money Talks, then you have 24 hours to share this video out. And once you share it out, comment Money Talks in the comments, whether on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you are watching from. Share this video and then comment Money Talks. And everybody that does that within the next 24 hours is going to be entered to win an autographed copy of Miss Kristin Michelle Young's newest book, Money Talks. Yes, so any final words? What'd you say?
It's released Valentine's Day weekend.
Ooh, even special. So, FYI, it releases on Valentine's Day weekend, not the actual day. But any final words that you want to share with the audience?
Man, there's so much I want to share. I don't have final words. This is just the introduction, y'all. This is introduction, and it's funny because. So that said, I had no intentions of talking about marriage at all. That was not my focus. But in me, I love it, and I'm really at the end of the day, I want to see healthy marriages, and unapologetically, I want to see healthy Black marriages. That is always at my core. So even though Living the Vows is technically on pause, which is why I said I didn't come here to talk about that because it's technically on pause right now. But as you can see, it's in me. I love it. I'm so passionate about it, and I will never turn down a conversation with someone who legitimately is in a space where they need to strengthen their marriage, because it's so important. And when you look at where we are right now, when we look at so many children that are hurting, children that are lost, families that are broken, I honestly believe at my core, if we can create healthy, loving, beautiful marriages, so many issues that we're seeing in families will fix themselves. I promise you, if you can create the foundation, if you can truly strengthen your marriage, get serious about marriage. This is not a dating situation where you're jumping in and out. Get serious. Truly be committed. Truly be in there for life. And when you can get there, fix your mindset, be willing to do the work that's necessary, so many issues that we're seeing right now will fix themselves. They really will.
Yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you missed it one more time, make sure you follow Miss Kristin Michelle Young on Facebook and Instagram at Kristin Michelle Young. And that's Kristin with 2 I's. Kristin Michelle Young. And again, if you want to win an autographed copy of her newest book, Money Talks, where she wrote her chapter alongside her husband, that releases this Valentine's Day weekend, then share this video out. And then once you're done, comment Money Talks in the comments wherever you're watching from. You've got 24 hours to do that. Everyone that does that will be entered to win. And make sure that you sign up for updates, bit.ly/happy updates. And with that, I will see you guys this Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern for another episode of the Happy Hour Show with Lindsey Vertner. And all right, y'all be blessed. Bye.
Yeah.